I read a book called To Kill a Mockingbird. There's a father figure in there, Atticus, and I loved that name. I knew like if I ever built something like a bus, I wanted it to be named that. Hi, my name is Anette McNamara and welcome to the Beautiful Strength Bus, also known as Atticus. I named the Beautiful Strength Bus, it's actually after the nonprofit that I run out of the bus, so I live, work, do everything within this bus. Beautiful Strength is a 501c3 nonprofit. I'm doing traveling empowerment photos, but I also live in here too, so we can start off showing you the kitchen. I love this bird key. I won it, so I don't know how much they are. They're probably like 300 bucks or something. But I would highly recommend having one of these because you never know where you're gonna get water. And also I have an algae problem in my water tank right now. So that's really fun if you wanna know the honest life of living on the road. So my sink, there's not a whole lot that I would change about the bus. I'll probably end up saying a bunch of things that I would change just because they're nitpicky to me, but in general, it's just me in this bus, so I don't have any passengers or anything. So it's just good enough for me, and then it makes it so I can't leave like dirty dishes anywhere. One of the things that people love when they come in here is the spice rack. They're just 4-ounce jars from Amazon you can get. And then I glued, so I used like a flex glue plus a little screw to go into there. So when you turn it, if you only screw it, they'll come loose and they'll just spin. But if you glue it, they stay in there. And then I don't know half these spices that are up there, but it looks cool. The majority of the bus, like the demo, the build, like the basic stuff prior to where you see like the wood and stuff, I did a lot of that. Like I had no idea what I was doing. So luckily I had a lot of help. And then I hired somebody to build all my cabinets are all custom. So I did draw it all out. I designed everything that's in here, but I had probably 2 different people build cabinets. There's probably like 50 people that have helped do something on this bus. I can fit a ton of stuff in it. Like I changed like the pots and pans that I use to be more like camp pots and pans that can be smaller and stacked. But I mean, you name an appliance, I probably have it or something like it. This gets into like spices and food and stuff. And then these down here are all dry goods. This cabinet is all like cleaning stuff. And then silverware, all that type of stuff. And then this is really cool because it's a pantry. So I'm able to actually like, I would say that the storage in this area is fairly adequate for me as a single person driving by myself. If it was like a full family, one thing that I would definitely change about the kitchen is a full-size fridge, and I would get a 12-volt fridge. So my fridge was one of the very first things that I bought. I loved the aesthetic of it. I thought it was super cute. My fridge has probably been the biggest challenge of any of the living on the road because currently I don't have solar. If I had a 12 volt, it would be a little bit better because it wouldn't draw as much power and it could stay on the 2 batteries that I have. Other than that, I love the way my kitchen looks. So this is a Camp Chef oven that I got from Cabela's. I think they're about 250 bucks. They're not like super expensive. Same thing, it's just me. So like 2 burners it's more than what I usually use. To be honest, I have not used the oven portion of it yet. It's really easy to use. This thing, it's easy to clean, but I have fireballs in a couple different places. So there's one up here in case this catches on fire. There's one where my water heater is because that's propane and that's live fire coming in. So I have this Magic Chef microwave. One, it matches everything, so it looks really pretty. I honestly don't use the microwave very often. Like right now, it's storage. It's another cupboard, but I can fit stuff in there and take it out. So I use it, but not nearly as much as I really thought I was going to. So it's neat. It's also Velcroed down, so it sits just as it is. It doesn't move. I finally installed the diesel heater. Buy one. Buy the Chinese diesel heater. It's $175. I think it's like $195 with shipping and stuff. Sucker is so easy to install. It comes in like 100 pieces. So when you open it, it looks super intimidating, but it's really easy to put together. But that thing, like, it takes maybe 15 minutes and my entire bus is toasty, like to the point that I can almost overheat in here and I have to turn it down. So this door right here is my pantry, and I wanted a full-size mirror. I'm a girl, I wanted a full-size mirror that I don't use nearly as often when I'm on the road. But all of this is like pots, pans, toaster. This is super awesome because it's just extra storage. All of my electric comes into here. So I did a lot of it. I didn't know how to do electric, but I learned really fast. So I've kind of like pieced together what I've needed along the way. So I had 2 AGM batteries donated to me. Then I had a 3,000 watt inverter donated to me. I have an isolator that goes to my alternator. So as a kid, I used to want to run away with the circus so bad. Like I grew up in small town Iowa. I graduated with 36 people. I would read my grandma's National Geographic magazines and know there was all these really cool places that you could see in the world. So as a kid, like I graduated in 1998, and then I hopped on a Greyhound bus and I moved to California. So this whole like go someplace and like conquer it has always been there. Like I just wanted to see something and then I get bored and then I go see something else and I get bored and I go see something else. And so 2019, I went to a tiny home festival in Nashville. The first bus I saw was the skoolie, and then I went and toured the rest of them and I was like, oh my God, people are doing this. Like it's not just a pipe dream in my head. So I was just laying in bed, you know, scrolling through online, like different buses that are for sale. And I must have clicked on one and didn't really think about it because I had like $500 in my account at the time. And this guy called me and he was like, hey, are you still interested in this bus? And I'm like, which one? You know, and he's like, oh, it's this one. It was like $10,000. And I'm like, yeah, totally, like trying to play it off like, dude can't know I'm poor. Whatever, I'll just hop in my car and I'll go see it. Well, I got to this bus and I was like, it was everything that I wrote down. It was low miles. It only had 119,000 miles on it. And it had a wheelchair lift, which is, I wanted it to have the wheelchair lift. And so I got chills like looking at this bus and so excited. And I went home and I could not stop thinking about it. And I messaged the guy and he was like, we absolutely love what you're doing. We'd like to discount it for you. Could you do $6,500? And once again, I didn't have $6,500, but I was like, I know I'm shooting 2 weddings coming up. Can you hold it for me and I will come and get it? And so 2 months later, I walked in with $7,500 cash and drove this bus home. And I had no idea where I was gonna park it. I was living in an apartment in Nashville, know nothing about conversion. I just knew I wanted it. And people kept asking me, they're like, well, how are you gonna do it? I'm like, I don't know, like I'll figure it out. So to move over to here, so I'm running a business inside of here too. So finding different ways to showcase things and move things is trial and error, but this is a cool little idea that my friend Ryan came up with. And then I can just move them. So a lot of people have barn doors in their buses. They like that sliding aesthetic look. But one of the biggest problems with barn doors is they pop off. So you'll be going down the road and it'll pop off, or you have to like take them off and lay them down while you're driving. So this is an actual like industrial, like actual barn door. Like it never bounces out, it has that. So this is the bathroom that is like 95% done. My bathroom is right when you walk in. Most people's bathrooms are not like that. They're usually in the back, but because of how I wanted to utilize the back of my bus, this was like the solution to be able to get everybody through my kitchen and bathroom, and then we go into where everybody hangs out and sits. So I have a composting toilet. I have airhead. The airhead's cool because you don't have to lift up all of the other stuff to pull the urine tank out. But I have a future goal for this. So my whole bus is inspired by photography, and I have a friend that does photo booths, and I want this to be a photo booth. Like an old school one where I could wire it to here or something and it'll print out like an actual picture. So people are gonna have to go into my toilet, but I think it's like the perfect size for like a photo booth. It might be like 5 years before I do it, but that'll happen. So that's the bathroom. So this area of my bus is the hair and makeup area. So once again, my entire bus is set up to be both business and living. So as a photographer, I wanted to have a place where people could do their hair and makeup, but I also obviously wanted to have hair and makeup for myself too. So when I click on here, this lights up, which is pretty cool. But also this is like a vanity. So like all my bathroom stuff, I also hide like pictures of like my friends and family in here. But you know, everything from all the toiletry type stuff. These things are awesome because you can lock them. So when you're driving down, everything stays in place. You don't have to move everything. It's just a simple lock. But also if you're out somewhere and you want to go hiking or whatever, you can put anything that's valuable into these and lock them. And it just kind of is an additional security within your bus. I use those jars again over here. So these are like earrings. These are hair ties. I actually use them in a couple different places throughout the bus. Everything on the walls, it's all double stick Velcro. So that's how it's all sticking to the walls. This side, this is probably my most underutilized area of my bus that I'm hopefully going to change. I love it, but I hate it at the same time. So I made my bus wheelchair compliant. So because people that I photograph, I wanted everybody to be included. So you can get a wheelchair from front to back. So with this, I was like, oh, I'm going to do a pop-up desk. And I had a guy make this for me. And then I found these lockers. Lockers are a really cool way of being able to add storage, but the bench is great. But like if I have people in here, I want the seat down so I can have people on the bench. Well, then to put the table up, I have to like pull the seat out and pop up the bench or table. It doesn't sound like it would be that big of a deal, but I want to change this to a dinette so I can actually have two people sit down. That's going to be one of the things that I change on here. So, but it's nice because like I have a sewing machine in here, I have paint, I have tools and stuff inside, and once again, you can lock it. So I'm not thinking that somebody's going to bust into my bus or anything, but it is kind of nice to know that some of your things, even on the inside outside, could be extra locked in case somebody does. So this section of my bus is, this is a bench, but it actually pulls out to a full-size bed too. I could technically sleep 7 people in my bus between the hammock hangers that are all throughout my bus. So I can do 3 hammocks up and down and then sleep 2 people here and then 2 people on my queen size bed. And honestly, I'm like the only person who sleeps in here. So this pulls out, but I wanted it to be long enough to carry backdrops. So this bottom drawer has all varieties of backdrops that I can change out for photography. And then in these, it's all like there's tank tops and clothes and t-shirts, everything up here. These are, once again, they're all double stick Velcro. So as you see it, this is exactly how I drive. So this area, which looks like it's a major storage area, it's actually so much more. So this wheelchair lift actually used to be in the back of the bus. And when I was talking to a friend of mine that I met through Instagram, and I was like, I just would love to have the full studio in the back, and this thing is like in the way. And he was like, I can move it. So we moved, and by we, it was 90% him, 10% me helping, but I was there. And we moved it to here. But it's been cool because like one of the very first shoots that I did in here for the project was a guy who was in a wheelchair. It's just been really cool to be able to see people that normally wouldn't be able to live this lifestyle or even participate in it. I'd be like, oh no, it's cool, here, come on in. So this is a Senville mini split. This was kind of like a temporary placement because I was going to a tiny home festival in the middle of July and I was like, I can't go if I don't have air. So we mounted it here. This thing should be right here. And for a couple different reasons. This is a 9,000, I believe. I would get the 13,000. I would spend the extra money. I would get the bigger unit because this would probably do okay in like a 9-window bus or something that is smaller and it's end to end. So because of the way that I have the wall in the back and how I use the front for storage, I didn't mount this to where it flows as easily. So I turn on fans that help. It does really well if everything's enclosed and it has time to cool down. But I think the 13,000 one would do a lot better. Once again, business and living space. I wanted to be able, like if somebody wanted to come in and do a shoot but wanted to change, I could block off an area and I pull it over to this side. I can put a curtain up here. But I also use these for if it's really hot, like I don't necessarily need to cool off my kitchen area. So I'll put a curtain across there, which keeps the cool air back here. Or I have another one that's back here. So like if I'm really like freezing, I can block off the whole bus and just heat the back. That's not such a problem since I've had the diesel heater. But that way people can also change. Or like if I have somebody stay with me, we can kind of have separation bedrooms where you don't have to stare at each other the whole time too. I also don't play the guitar, but I won this one and it's awesome. And this one has all my Nashville stickers, but I carry them with me because I aspire to play the guitar. I was like, I'll have all this time on the road. I'll sit and I'll learn. That didn't happen, but I still aspire to. But I love that various people will come in here and they'll play them. So, and they look cool. So I've struggled with my weight my entire life. I've been big, I've been small, I got in really good shape, and somebody told me that I was starting to look like the Hulk and that I should stop lifting weights and I was starting to look like a man. And I was doing boxing at the time and I was like, no, it's beautiful strength. So I got it tattooed on my arms. So beautiful strength became this like just thing that I was like, no, that's what I am. So in 2018, the movie The Greatest Showman came out, which is like the circus, which is awesome. And they had this song called This Is Me. And I was just like, oh my God, this is like awesome. Like it's all these weird misfit people that are true to themselves, but they're just beautiful and celebrated people. And so I was like, hey, I really want to do a photo shoot of myself that is a straight on shot, no filters. And I want to write about myself around my photo, and I don't want to do any Photoshop or anything to it. Well, I started telling multiple friends about it, and they were like, well, I want to participate, I want to do it, I want to do it. So we rented out a big studio for a day. I put a post out, and I had like 85 people want to participate. And what started very shortly as a body positivity shoot expanded into like an all humanity shoot really, really quickly. Because body positivity is just so small, and like there's everything from the color of your skin to the height you are to the size of, you know, nose you have to what religion you are, sexuality you are, all these different things. And I was like, man, if you could just have some sort of shoot that would be like letting people just be themselves. So I started the nonprofit, and at that very first shoot, I was like, man, it would be so cool to make this mobile. Like at some point I want to be able to do some sort of conversion. So the 2018-2019, this project became like the Tupperware party of places. Like people were inviting me to their gyms, to their businesses. I set up in my apartment in Nashville, and then people would tell me their stories, and I'd be like, and then I'd have people start messaging me on Instagram, like I saw this amputee and I'm in a hospital, and I've had breast cancers too, and all these different things. So I started taking this map and putting like little pins on it. Okay, so this section here originally was going to be a sit-down desk. That's why it kind of steps down a little bit. After I kind of like sat down here and stuff, I was like, oh, I'm never going to actually do that. So I would change this. If I was going to change something, I would make it to where it's one flat top instead of this step down. But my favorite place to sit in the entire bus is right here. Like when I have people in here and everything, like this is just, it's super comfortable. So I won't change it ever, but I think that's the reason why it drops down. Everything that's in this bus as far as decoration goes is either something that was given to me as a gift, or like I've collected kind of as I've gone. So even all the cameras you're seeing are things that people like, I don't know, they're just like, here, have this camera here. So I wasn't gonna have anything right in this space. And then I'm like, oh, I need storage. So I also make candles that go along with the nonprofit, and then carry mugs and merch and stuff like that. So this is all candle merchandise. And once again, everything can lock so it doesn't move when you're driving, but pulls all that stuff out. There's extra like touch-up paints and stuff that I have to do. All this different merchandise stuff from here. And then just lock it back up. I wasn't sure how I was gonna do curtains because once you get to this area, it had to be something that would move. And these were like super simple. My ceiling was one of the hardest things for me to do. I wanted to have as much ceiling height as possible. So this is luan, one of those two words. So it's super thin and it's brittle and it was a pain to get up there. And then I was really proud about like my lights, how the placement of my lights is great. I'm glad I took the whole ceiling down because I did have leaks and I fixed those. So this area here is a custom closet. So if I open this, there's a lot of storage. It doesn't exactly, it's kind of squished in there right now. This was just cool because I wanted something that I can actually hang up and not have to fold everything. And then I just squish it in there anyway. So that's cool. So this was actually one of the very first things that I knew that I wanted in the bus because I wanted to do what I'm doing as business and living. And this way I can have all of my business stuff. So everything from markers to paper to gear and t-shirts and merch and all the different things in these drawers. And then I can lock them. Now, one of the things that I would do again with this is I would put about double the amount of screws that I have in there. When things wiggle, I've had to go in and kind of fix this a couple times because it doesn't catch anymore. So like my bottom two, the reason why there is a bungee cord on there is that those two drawers no longer lock. But it's not such a big deal. But this is where I store all my shoes. So the big drawers full of all my shoes. And then I just put D-rings on here and slap it on there. But this is a wheel well too. So once again, utilizing the space. Some people will drop the wheel wells. I wanted as much headroom as possible. So with this, I mean, it's like the perfect height for me for a stand-up desk. This cabinet was specially made to be able to fit binders. So like the height of it is exactly binder height. And then I have like my printer. I'm able to do basically everything from here. There's one outlet behind here. And then this thing is cool because it's got an outlet strip on it. So I can plug everything like right into here. And I absolutely love that. I use the jars again up here for like rubber bands, pins, office-y type stuff. This is everywhere that I traveled last year. So once again, you don't have a lot of room inside a bus, but this way I can know everywhere that I've gone and it all fits. Like this is from April to December of all places I went. And if they didn't have a sticker, I took like a coaster or like something from there and put them inside this. So easy way to have some stuff to remember your trip without taking up a ton of space. Like every day I wake up in here and I am like, I can't believe that this is mine. Like as soon as the bus was finished, it's still not finished. I don't think any bus is ever finished, but I could not wait to get on the road. I was just like, you couldn't combine a life together that fits me more than what this is, between traveling, photography, meeting people, interviewing people, learning about things. Is it the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life? Absolutely. You have to figure out where to park. I'm not stealthy. I'm a pink, sparkly 40-foot bus. But then I'll be at like a grocery store in Colorado and somebody will come in my bus. They usually will come to see it as a skoolie because people know tiny homes now. And then they come in here and they're like, what are you doing? Like, this is the coolest project ever. And then they participate in it and then you find out they're having like surgery that could be like, they could die tomorrow. And they're like, I'm so glad that I was able to do this project. Or I've had, you know, cancer survivors, or I've had kids, or I've had like, everybody has something going on in their life. Just because you can't visibly see it doesn't mean somebody didn't just lose a parent, lose an animal, battling cancer, PTSD, like childhood trauma. Like everybody has something that they're dealing with. And we're all still pursuing life. And so this project is like this big, huge, sparkly, happy thing. I can't go anywhere in the bus without somebody wanting to know it. It is exactly why I built it, but it is like, it's even cooler than what I thought it was gonna be. Like I did 563 portraits in here last year, and that's just scratching the surface. So this area, I'm a traveling photographer, so I have gear. So a lot of this was like creative thinking as to how I can store things. So I'm using like laundry baskets, and then I've attached different baskets here. So obviously not exactly exciting, but it's all here and it's quasi organized. And then I mounted a TV up here, which surprisingly I don't watch nearly as much TV as I thought I would being on the road. Like obviously I like the Netflix like series and stuff, but by the time I'm like done traveling for the day, I'm so tired that usually I just go to sleep. But I do have the TV. Once again, it's only on if I run my generator or if I have power. So that's another thing too. Like, do I go out to start my generator just so I can watch TV? Not usually, but I also, a cool thing about this is I can use my computer to, if I want to tether, so like if I'm photographing somebody or if I'm doing headshots or something, I can actually tether it to this computer or to this TV, and then they can see their images immediately while I'm photographing them. So this area back here, which is probably my favorite area of the entire bus. So I'm a traveling photo studio. This area can be used as a photo studio with the backdrop behind it, because I take a photo of people and then they write in their own handwriting about themselves. But the other cool thing, like this area can be utilized as a lot of different space. There's room for a yoga mat back here. I'm a big fan of TRX. So you can strap these in. I also have like hammocks that go up and down, but I can do like a full-on workout pretty much doing anything back in this space, whether it's yoga, I can do squats, I can do all the different things from here. So one of my big things when we were designing this was to be able to have this space completely open. Now, a lot of people would put their beds in the back and you don't see any of the back of the bus. And I wanted it to really be like an open area. So if there's people sitting up there, they can talk to people that are back here. I've actually set up a table back here, had like 6 people over for dinner once. There's just a lot of space. But the other thing is like, I was like, oh, I really want to be able to see out the back when I'm driving, because I'd never driven a 40-foot school bus before. And then I also wanted a place to sleep, and I didn't want to sleep just on a piece of foam that was only like the half of a twin size bed. So my friend Dan came up with this awesome solution. And so that's a bench that can be like little kids and stuff can sit on it for when I photograph them. But then this is so cool. I get so excited about this. There's a little, and then it's a full queen size bed. I have a puffy mattress on it, which is super comfortable. It's funny because when I'll travel to people's houses, like I'll stay at friends' houses and they're like, oh, I made up a guest room. And I'm like, I'm fine. I have my full on bed. But when I drive, I roll that curtain up and I can see all the way from the front of the bus out the back of the bus. Yeah, and then I had a friend of mine in Nashville as an artist, Jocelyn Lemmer. She painted this for me. I was like, make it look like you're in like a fiery sunset or something. So that was pretty cool. And then based on, since I don't level myself, if my bus is tipped this way, my head goes over here. And if my bus is tipped the other way, I sleep that direction. So really, really, really comfortable. And then it's a super simple, I just push it up and it goes right back into place. And when I'm stopped places, like if I don't have air or heat on, I put that up because it does insulate the back windows pretty well. If you'd like to follow along or see where I'm going, support this project, be entertained, go to beautifulstrength.org. There's also Instagram is beautifulstrength_org is the project. Beautifulstrength_bus is the bus and the project combined. But the best way to start is just go to the website and then you can find all the different socials that go along with it. So all the links are going to be down below. Make sure you click those and follow along.